Greetings, YouTubians, and welcome back to Wayne Sharp World, where today I'm here at Joshua Tree National Park, and we're going to be taking a look at the Shirogorov F3 NS. Now, before I go any further in this review, I'd like to thank you guys for tuning in today. If you like what you see, please do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, follow along, and I will continue to bring you the content. Now, with that being said, let's take a look at some overall specs on this knife right here. We have an overall length of 8.75 inches with a blade length coming in at 3.75 inches, a cutting edge at 3.875 inches, and a close length of 5 inches. We have a handle thickness of 0.59 inches, and we have a handle width right around 1 inch with some very nice M390 blade steel. We have a blade thickness coming in at 0.156 inches, and we have a drop point style blade with a ridiculously thin flat grind, handle material of contoured carbon fiber with a very unique liner lock mechanism, which we will talk about a little more here when we get to the handle and ergos of this knife. We have a right hand tip up only carry, a weight coming in at 4.6 ounces, and a price, hold on to your butts here on the price, $895 for this guy right here. If you guys didn't know, which I'm sure you probably all do, Shirogorovs are not cheap. They are very expensive, but for some reasons that some people may be able to justify. We'll talk about the price at the end of this as well. Real quick, got some size comparisons for you. Even hauled out a couple other knives. The flies seem to like me today just as much as I like this Shirogorov. As you can see, we have the Real Steel Rocat, and we also have the Kaiser Justice, which is a very, very good size comparison knife. Probably the perfect one for this knife right here, the Shirogorov. And now that we got the size comparisons in, let's talk about this blade. It's pretty simple. You know, it's really, at the end of the day, it's just a drop point blade. But what this really has going for it is that damn fly. We're gonna keep going here. We're going live. We're in the elements, so we have to just fight through it. It's a very simple blade, but also very unique, and in my opinion, pretty stunning. It has some really attractive points to it that stick out that you don't see on a lot of other knives. But the grind on this knife is super thin, but the little swedges up here at the top and the little details along the spine really kind of pop on this, and you have that little subtle, it's almost like a clip, but it's definitely not, probably not considered a clip point, but it kind of flattens out right up here, which is pretty nice. You have jimping on the back here that is not really functional. It's more just for aesthetics, but it does look really good. You also have some pretty nice blade branding on here. I really do like the Shirogorov symbol. It's pretty attractive. It's clean. Just looks really good. And then you also have the steel marking right here, M390, and a nice simple but still pretty good looking font. And more than anything, the edge makes this blade. It really does. If you guys haven't heard or don't know a whole lot about Shirogorov knives, they are ridiculously stupid thin. Now, I wanted to bring some paper to kind of give an example to you guys on this one. I never really feel inclined to cut paper during a review because I just feel like everybody does it, and of course it's a knife. It's supposed to cut through paper, but this edge right here, this is a laser beam. It really is. Look at that. It is it will cut through pretty much freaking anything other than this rock right here. But I didn't bring the paper because I'm at Joshua Tree National Park, and it's not a good idea to litter. You don't ever litter national parks. If you do, you are the biggest jerk of all jerks, so don't do that. So I left the paper in the car. But with that being said, it is a stupid sharp edge. I'm willing to bet this is coming in somewhere between 10 and 12 thousandths behind the edge. I obviously don't have my calipers on me either, but it is sharp as all get out. Now, going into the handle and ergos on this guy, it doesn't get any worse. It actually gets a little better in my opinion because the ergos are super good on this knife. It's a bigger knife. It fills my hand very well. And going in to look at the details, you have very nice milling work. It's maybe hard to see because of that amazing shimmer and shine you see on the carbon fiber, but there is texturized milling on these scales and they feel great. They have a good amount of grip and tackiness. And there's also a couple little, it's hard to tell if you can see it right now, but there's some little milled notches that just kind of add for aesthetics. Maybe a little bit of grip if you're up here. I guess probably not. But just very attractive materials. And this pocket clip is probably the nicest pocket clip, easily one of the top 3 or 4 best pocket clips I've ever seen on a knife. The milling and shape and design is beautiful. It carries extremely well in the pocket with perfect pressure, carries deep, well, plenty deep enough for me, and just looks really, really good. Now, another thing it has that I'm also a pretty big fan of is this liner lock. Now, as you can see that little notch right there? That is really cool, because that will keep the liner from traveling too far to the right. Some people really worry about that. Shirogorov took an extra step to make sure that that's just not gonna happen. So I do like that a lot. And another thing I like just as much, if not even more, is how easy it is to access this liner lock. This is the easiest liner lock I've ever been able to access on a flipper, and it really does kind of make it as great as it is, because it's super, super easy. You just push in and it closes. It's won't get too deep into the action just yet, but it really is amazing. One drawback on this knife, and it's a pretty big one. It actually kind of pissed me off when I heard it, but obviously you see proprietary screws here. So there is a tool you have to get. I guess you don't have to. You could use a flathead screwdriver, but it sounds like that's pretty risky. The previous owner of this knife, this is actually from my good friend Dilo. He sent this to me to review. Dilo didn't do this, but the person he bought it from tried using a flathead and did that right there, kind of marred the screw up. So that's super, super annoying on a knife this expensive. But what's even worse is the tool you have to buy that actually fits these things perfectly is $300 freaking dollars. $300 for a tool. I heard there's third parties out there making the bits that actually fit in this, and I usually don't say this. I don't like I don't, sometimes I kind of question whether or not it's a good idea for people to make the, tools to replicate something to go on not a custom, but a very high-end design. But for $300, I can't be on board with that. I would be all about the third-party brand. So the third-party bits are still like $60 from what I've heard, but I've never seen them. So I don't know. Let me know, you guys, if you have a Shirogorov, how do you disassemble these knives? Do you use just a flathead screwdriver and some cloth or something? What's the trick? Because I would like to pick up a Shirogorov, but I'm not spending $300 on a tool. That's absolutely insanity. But so let me know, what do you guys do to take care of that? But that really is, in my opinion, the only drawback on this knife, because then you get into the action, and I'm telling you what, this knife made me fall in love with flippers again. Excellent jimping up here on the tab, and the detent's perfect. That right there, that is the most fidgety flipper I've ever handled. And I'm doing this talking to you. It's like using the, there it goes. It's like using the shark lock on the 80-20. It's just, once you do it, you just have to keep doing it, and it's just absolutely fantastic. I wouldn't change a thing about this action. It really is. A lot of people always talk about how Shirogorovs close, and they do. It's close so good. Just feels great. You have the clip in a perfect position to kind of hold on to make it even more comfortable, and yeah, just all day, so good. This really did make me fall in love with flippers again. As you guys know, there's the term flipper fatigue for knife reviewers and people in general. You get tired of seeing flippers. This made flippers a lot more desirable for me. Unfortunately, this one is not a cheap flipper, but it's just so good. It literally, and there's not a lot I'd change about it other than the fact you got to buy an expensive tool. Talking about the price on this knife, it's one of those knives to where if you're an extreme enthusiast or a collector, you probably just bite the bullet and buy one, because they really are that good. If you're one of the more high dollar, or there's so many different levels of collectors, but if you're okay with a $700+ knife, then I think this is definitely a knife worth looking at, because it really is pretty amazing. Another thing that I didn't point out that I really should, and it may be hard to see with the sun beating in, is the insane amount of milling inside this guy. Let's see. I'll have to see. I think you can see a little of it, but it's again, it's up there. It's Koenig level for the milling, so really helps take a lot of weight out and gives the handle just a real good solid, kind of a hollowy feel almost. It doesn't feel hollow. I don't know. It just takes weight out, and it really does. You notice it when you see something like that in there, and then you look at other knives that don't. You notice the difference, and it's kind of hard to explain. You have to just experience it, I guess. But it's very, very good. Overall thoughts on this knife are pretty much through the roof. I really wanted a Shirogorov before I even got this in hand. Thanks to Dilo, he just confirmed that. It really is so good. Literally, well, literally for that right there. You got to be careful though, because like I said, this is a sharp blade. If it catches your thumb or your finger, it's gonna cut you pretty good. So be very careful about that. But yes, like I said, overall, just an absolutely fantastic knife. Very, very attractive. And if you're okay with the price range, I do think they live up to the hype. It really is a phenomenal knife, the Shirogorov F3NS. So with that being said, I'm gonna put this in my pocket before I drop it and kind of give you guys just a quick little look at exactly where I am. I'm on the north side of the park right now, and I'm going to go all over the place. I'm gonna check out every corner of this park. Again, it's my 5th time being here, so I'm not necessarily a newbie. And we have a new moon tonight, so I will be doing some Milky Way chasing. If you ever want to feel very small and insignificant, go out to some open skies during a new moon and look up at the stars, because it's pretty stinking amazing. It really is one of my favorite things in the world to do. And this is one of my favorite national parks. So underrated. If you live in the California area, if you're ever out in the area, please check it out. It really is worth your time. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, how do I refer it? I was gonna do a little reverse and be like, I'm out, with you being able to see my face, but I don't see the review on this. So with that being said, you guys have a great rest of your day. And until the next one, I'm out.